Welcome back. This is episode 2 of the Accord refresh, I guess. I don't really know what I'm calling this series. It'll just be 7th Gen Accord or something like that. Anyhow, today we're gonna pull the radio. So the thing with the radio is it powers on, but it doesn't work. So I have a clock right here, but the moment I put the key in and I go to turn it and I push power on, it shows FM, whatever, station or frequency, no volume whatsoever. It's completely quiet. I can turn the volume up, but nothing comes out of it. It used to do popping a long time ago, where it would turn the radio on and you just hear a big boom, and that's like the only way I can describe it. I'm sure it's happened to other people. Let's try and fix it today, or at least figure out what's going on with the radio. It's not related with the fuse down there, obviously, because I wouldn't have any lights here and nothing would kind of come on. Everything else in here works. It's the radio. So let's take a look at it today and let's see what we can do. Before we get started, however, I did bring a little toolkit in the car with me, just some basic tools. This is like a computer toolkit. It's like perfect for things like this. You can do a lot of things, and you got the little plastic popper tools so you don't like damage the edges around, trim and stuff. Then I also just grabbed a flathead and a Phillips screwdriver. Now there are guides for this online. I'm not really gonna do a guide on how to pull this apart, but you'll see clips of me pulling bits and pieces apart and how I'm getting to it and kind of the whole process of looking and diagnosing this radio. Let's get to it. Push these up, pop it, pull it from the edge, it'll come off. I usually go for this side first. There we go. They're just little clips, you gotta be really careful. Don't put too much force. There we go, right off. Same for automatic, there's a different thing. You push it in with your key and you move this all the way down to first, and then you can pull the little plastic cover off. So that we can set aside. We'll get those. Move on to the next one, next screw. Okay, there we go. So I see now, the rubber is there we go. Rubber pinches the top piece, 2 screws back here. Pop this out. Oh. Anything come off? No, that's just a rubber bit there. Cigarette port lighter, important to unplug this. Plastic clip over here. There we go, disconnected. All right, this piece is out. 2 bolts for the cubby, and we'll keep track of these since they're right here. They're easy to get to. There we go. There's only 2, can't really mess that up. It should come out just with a little bit of, there we go. Got it. All right, I've got it. Now if we can kind of get it out, that would be nice. There we go. Almost. There's our cubby. Alright, set that there. Extension. And let's look for 8. 8'll do. All right. Right there. Okay, that one's loose. Okay, bolt. Okay, and another bolt. This we'll use a good tool for. I always use these when working on computers and stuff. Plastic pry tool. This one might be a little small, but we'll see. Should be able to reach around it. Yeah, okay. There we go. Finally got it off. There's a connector over here. Now we can get to the radio part, and I gotta locate all the screws still. Well, we got 3 screws over here. Get this one out. All right, I managed to shake it free. So there's a little green pin connector right here. That needs to come out. Green connector's out. Okay. Let's go look over here. Plastic pin for holding the wire. Put it right here. There we go. This part. There we go. Pliers down, radio antenna right there. All right. Oh, so I'm sweating and the GoPro won't stay on my head because I have too much hair right now. But we pulled it out. This is up. This stuff, there's some blemishes from me trying to get it up. I'm gonna see what I can do about that. If I can kind of massage it or something or press it back in. Same for the other side, but we got all the pieces out. Screws, I'm putting screws with everything where I set them and all that. So yeah, it's all out. This obviously needs to get cleaned up, and those 2 screws that fell down here I need to get out. That shouldn't be too hard. They're here somewhere and they should be reachable, and if not, I'll just use like some magnet or something to get them. But we should be all good. Now it's all out. We're gonna have to inspect some of the stuff here. There's a ground wire that looks fine over here, and I wonder if the speaker problem, since the radio power's on and everything, I wonder what could really be wrong. There could be a ground somewhere that's off, that's killing the whole loop or something. So I have to do some more research, but at least the radio itself is kind of out of the way. If the problem resides behind here, we can actually check the radio out and give it a look, even if it wasn't necessary to pull it out, which again, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm trying to diagnose kind of every possible thing since I don't know where the issue is so far in the loop. It's a pain to get some of the plastic to pop up because it's just been sitting for so long. But other than that, it's time to do a little bit more research and get everything on the workbench. So I haven't done a really good job of updating, but it's been a couple hours and I spent a lot of time with my little wire brush down here, and I cleaned out all this as much as I could. There's a bunch of crap in here. Cleaned up everything over here as well. So here's what we're looking at on the workbench. I pulled the cup holders after the fact. You guys didn't see the footage of that, but I pulled that just to clean out the whole middle. And I figured it'd be a good time to clean up some of this stuff that has, like, you know, crumbs of food and just crap in it anyway. But the radio itself looks fine. I mean, it's perfectly good, and I powered it up again after I had everything. So I wonder, like I said earlier, if maybe this isn't at cause, it's an amp issue, or there's a ground missing. Okay, so it is later in the day, obviously. I've kind of been doing this all day, trying to figure out what I can do best for you guys, but here's how to do the diagnostic test. So here's your head unit if you've pulled it out. If you've not pulled it out and it's still in, that's fine, you don't need to. You can still run it by leaving it in. I just had it pulled out for, you know, this whole video and trying to figure out what's going on. So first thing we're gonna need to do is connect up our radio if you have it out. Pretty self-explanatory. It's like reassembling the whole thing. I'm gonna go ahead and push it in here. Make sure the connectors click and that they make a noise, like a solid noise. So this connector, the blue one, goes on the bottom. Go ahead and pop that in here. All right, that's in. Let's go ahead and set the radio kind of back. Grab your key, put your key in. I usually go to on. Radio's flashing. There goes my vent. It makes noises. So now from here, push 1 and 6, and then push power. See how it goes into diagnostic mode? So there we go. Push 6, DSP no, and it's gonna cycle through right here. EEP okay, and TNR okay. So this is how you do your diagnostic test of your radio in your car. Now to cancel it or turn it off, you just turn the radio off as normal. Alright, so it's been a couple more hours since I filmed anything last. Still doing this, but I did some research online. I've been looking, I figured, now that I have this all out, I should do some more. Before I started, I did some research just to see, and I will correct my mistake that I said just a short while ago in the video, saying that maybe there's a separate amp somewhere. There's not, so this head unit has an amp inside of it, so it's like all in one. Basically, there's no needing to check for that. I did check my rear speakers, everything seemed fine. I have not done any voltmeter tests or anything like that, but I did find this link online, and I'm going to show it to you guys right here. You can watch it alongside me as like a little screen recording or screenshot. So many people do have this issue with their Honda radios. After lots of searching, I found this thread that has some very useful info in it. This guy has found the whole audio system wiring harnesses, wiring harness, colors for everything, what it all means, so you can utilize that. That's a good resource. Links down in the description for all of this, of course. I have this other thread pulled up, and it is about the self-diagnostic function of this radio. So I wish I had known this earlier, because I would have known a lot more by leaving this in the car. DSP, EEP, or TMR. And so what those basically mean are, the one you really want to focus on to know if your head unit is dead, according to this thread, is DSP. It comes up as, it looks like NG or no. So I think it's no, and somebody else Googled it and found out that DSP NG means display bus negative. So it means that the head unit itself has a fault in the connection between the head unit and the head unit's connector. It is not the wiring harness. This guy also figured out that it is, yes, indeed faulty. He said that his wires themselves checked out, so he must have ran it against a voltmeter and seen kind of the resistance or whatever coming back. That means this whole piece, or rather this piece on the back right here, is what is dead. So that seems to be a very common issue. Although I did find something interesting here. But somebody figured out that inside some of the resistors and stuff had become unsoldered or something like that. And so that's kind of a last ditch effort to fix your stock unit if you don't want to buy a new one and you do have a little bit of electrical and soldering experience. You might be able to get away with it. But I'd figure I'd note that and also leave a link to that one in the description as well. It's a good read. The guy has a picture of like kind of what's wrong and where to point it out. And so I think if you're really interested in going that route, you can look at that thread as a good example of what kind of research you need to do next. So I figured I'll just throw that in the description, and maybe somebody who's watching that is really technically inclined might go ahead and try that. So I know this video was a bit on the longer side. I do apologize for that. I do want to make them shorter and a little quicker, but at the same time I want to try and pack them with a little more content, and I'm still trying to figure out how I want to do this, but that's alright, we'll figure it out. Where does this leave us then? I guess I can call this part 1, because based on what I told you guys earlier about somebody looking at the board and the resistors and stuff, since it's sitting here and it doesn't work anyway, I'm really considering giving it a go. So I totally see a part 2 coming to the radio stuff. As of right now, I think there's gonna definitely be a part 2, and opening it up and seeing what we can do inside, at least for mine. So stay tuned if you do want to see part 2, if this does interest you for that. I'm gonna give it a go, and I will definitely do a better job of documenting everything versus kind of what I've done up to now. Like I said, I'm still trying to figure out the format and how I want to do this, and the space that I'm working in, how I can record things better. Obviously, when it comes to things working here in the workspace, if I'm soldering anything or like putting something together on the table, have some different camera angles to kind of show you what I'm doing or what I'm working with and stuff like that. So if you have any suggestions or comments, please leave them below. All the links for all the forum stuff are also in the description, and yeah, let me know what you think. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next episode.